So I just finished episode 2 of Diet Monday Night Raw, and how do I feel about this week's episode in comparison to last week's? Well, to be honest with you, I rock with this week's episode more than last. It's not perfect, but I think it's better in totality than last week's. Now, don't get me wrong, I like Gunther versus Sami Zayn for the World Heavyweight Championship. Great match. When CM Punk came out at the beginning of the show, cut the promo, is he retiring, is he not? That whole mystery thing, I love that moment. There are moments from that show that I could pick from that I actually like, but in totality, as I said, this show this week felt a lot more well-rounded. It felt a lot less rushed. It felt a lot less disjointed. And it seemed like WWE answered a lot of concerns that people had for last week's episode and for the tag team division in this episode. And I loved every part of that. So the first thing I would like to appreciate is the pacing of this week's episode of Raw. Now, don't get me wrong, it wasn't perfect, but compared to last week felt like somebody wrote the script for a 3-hour episode of Raw and forgot that Raw was going to go to 2 hours. And then maybe WWE, Triple H, and the creatives looked at the script and was like, well, we got the script already, so we got to do what we have to do. Just shave it off here, shave it off there, and let's just try to shove it into a 2-hour show. And as a result, it was very noticeable, right? We got like weird situations like the 10-woman tag match, or with the Judgment Day driving down in the parking garage, Raquel Rodriguez driving with sunglasses on at night. They come down, have an interview for half a second, and then drive off. Why did that happen? Some matches feel like they got cut short. Some segments seem like they got rushed. It was just a whole mess in my personal opinion. And it felt like whatever direction those matches or those promos are about to go to, they never really reached that because they really needed that 3rd hour, which I get. But this week actually seemed like that they fine-tuned it to make sure it perfectly fits within the 2-hour show. In fact, it seemed like they made it to where it should fit in a 1-hour show, in my personal opinion, which I'm not complaining about, because majority of the commercials that we saw last week seemed to get replaced by backstage segments, pre-recorded promos, so many different things as filler. You know, it's kind of like when you try to fit something in a box that you're about to ship out and that item is too small for that box and use bubble wrap to kind of pad it in a little bit more. It felt like they took those segments and promos and things like that to kind of pad in the product a little bit more to make sure it fits within those 2 hours. And to me, I'm not complaining about the commercials being less because, like I said last week, I would rather be able to focus on the main event of the show than to hear about a bunch of side effects from headache medicines and hear commercials about Pizza Huts. And I'm trying to focus on the main event while being paranoid and hungry at the same time. So as far as the pacing goes, it really feels like they're going in the right direction, and I can't wait to see how they fine-tune that more. And another thing they did in this episode of Raw is address something that I've had a problem with for a long time, and that is WWE's booking of the tag team division, specifically the tag team titles. And they finally did it on screen and actually talked about it, and I loved every moment of it, because you guys know I've been talking about this for a while. I've made multiple videos about it, about how WWE takes those tag teams, put them on factions, and use them as a plot just to forward their stories, while the actual tag teams on WWE don't even get any showtime. They don't even make it on PLEs. But the fact that they're taking the opportunity to make a step in the right direction, I am completely happy about that. One, we got the War Raiders back with their original name from NXT, which I absolutely love. Those guys look great. They lost some weight. They look healthier. I'm happy for those guys being back. And the other thing was the backstage segment between Adam Pearce, Finn Balor, and JD Bobblehead McDonough. Okay, it seemed like that they really were talking to the fans or letting the fans talk through them, because Adam Pearce said something that was very, very important. When Finn Balor was trying to focus on Damian Priest, Adam Pearce was like, no, you have to focus on your obligation. Since you're tag team champions, your obligation is to defend those titles. I've given you a month to take care of this Damian Priest situation, but now you have to defend this title. And then he announced that he started a tag team tournament, which for me, I am a huge fan of tournaments. I am a huge fan of the tag team division, and this makes me so happy to finally showcase the tag teams like they should. Now, hopefully in the future, they'll get more spots on PLEs, but I know it's just baby steps. So the fact that we're moving into the right direction with that makes me so excited. I can't wait to see what happens in the future. Another thing that I did like about this episode of Raw is them showcasing the ability to build a story throughout the show, even if it's only 2 hours. Now, that's one of the main things that I did love about Raw, is their ability to do that with a 3-hour show, because it gave them a lot of time. And even in the worst era of Raw, in the late 2010s, the best episodes were the ones that they're able to do that. I don't think we got that last week, but this week we definitely got it with Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez and Tiffany Stratton. And although I don't really care about that storyline as much as I used to, it's pretty cool to see that. So now they really don't have an excuse to not do that in the future in the next upcoming Raws until 2025. So speaking of them, I thought it was really cool that WWE was able to showcase 11 women tonight without forcing them into a 15,000 women tag match like last week. But in fact, they were involved in tag matches that actually meant something, because they had seeds that were planted for storylines to happen in the future, whether it be for Crown Jewel or whatever the case may be. But I thought it was great, and I felt like both matches happened for a reason and they had their meaning behind it. I really did like the video packages, the backstage interviews, and the backstage segments. They were really good in this episode, like specifically the Dragon Lee video package. That thing was incredible. Whoever did his and did Delta, you are doing a fantastic job. That was so good. Also, the backstage interviews, say with Bronson Reed and Adam Pearce, with Bronson Reed explaining like why he wants this match with Seth Rollins and convincing Adam Pearce to give him the match. I thought that was really great, especially with Adam Pearce kind of getting a backbone and flexing his muscle as a manager. He's finally doing that, especially when he came in wearing the Agent 47 from Hitman suit when he was talking to JD Bobblehead McDonough and Finn Balor. I thought that was really great for him. The whole conversation between him and Seth Rollins was really good as well, because Seth Rollins gave him a really dope response when Adam Pearce was basically trying to like protect this guy. He was like, you get hurt a lot, bro. You get injured a lot. And we're not talking about injured. You get injured. Do you not remember what Bronson Reed did to you and kept you out for a while? Do you not remember what he did to other people? Do you not remember your injury history when it comes to wrestling in this company? But Seth Rollins hit him with something so dope, and you got to respect him for it, because he's like, I need this match against Bronson Reed because Bronson Reed, like people like him, brings out the best in me. And don't you want the best version of me on Raw? And Adam Pearce had nothing really to respond to that, because that was a really dope response. Now, the one that kind of was questionable to me was the Braun Breaker one, when he explained why, after he said he respected Jey Uso, why did he attack him? And he basically said, because I told him I respected him and he didn't tell me that back. I just feel like that was a cop-out, okay? Just WWE, just tell us that you don't know what to do with Braun Breaker at this moment. You're not ready for him to go face. You're not ready for him to go beyond Jey Uso, or you needed him to create this fatal four-way or triple threat match at Crown Jewel. Like, it just really seemed like a cop-out, because now when he turns face or he turns tweener, it's not going to be that believable, because if that's all it took for him to turn heel or fully heel or to attack somebody, what is it going to take for him to not be, you know, a tweener or a babyface in the future? It just seemed too convenient. But I mean, it is what it is at the end of the day. So overall, this episode of Raw was a step in the right direction. Do I feel like it was perfect? Do I feel like it was the Raw of the year? Absolutely not. But I'm looking forward to the steps they take as we get closer and closer to 2025 when it comes to these 2 hours episodes of Raw. I feel like they got a bright future. You let me know in the comment section what you like, what you hated about this episode of Raw today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Salute, peace, have a good day.